latecomers will just miss.
What now?
The latecomers will just miss.
Oh, yes.
This is an awesome story in the Bible, so it should be fun today. Not that they're not all good stories, but
This is one of the more memorable ones.
yes. Because maybe it's a little easier to understand. Who knows? Dear Lord, bless us as we gather today to study your word. We are grateful for your love and your grace. Give us the faith of Esther and Mordecai to be your faithful servants. Lord, help us to recognize that you have all power. Lead us on your path. We are encouraged by the knowledge that you protect and guide us. Direct our steps on our journey of faith. Open our hearts to have a deeper relationship with you through your lesson today. Amen.
Amen.
Timeless truth, God's providence includes both justice and love. King Xerxes of Persia, reading glasses are needed. King Xerxes of Persia had reason to party. He was, let me get my reading glasses. I don't need them every day, so it's like confusing. Sorry about that.
We understand what you mean.
I thought I was going to be able to leave it out.
In reality.
Silly girl, I was. Okay, one more time. King Xerxes of Persia had reason to party. His vast empire was powerful and prosperous. His queen was lovely. His palace was ideal for a celebration befitting such a monarch. His merrymaking continued for 6 months when Xerxes summoned Queen Vashti so he could put her on display for the inebriated revelers. She refused. Kings do not like to be refused. With his advisor's support, he stripped Vashti of the crown and banished her from his presence. Kings also do not like to be queenless. The king commissioned a kingdom-wide beauty pageant. Young women from every province were whisked into the king's harem for a year-long visit at the royal spa. One such woman was a Jewish girl named Esther, who had been raised by her cousin Mordecai. Esther won everyone's heart, including the king's. He made her queen, but did not know she was a Jew. Soon after, Mordecai learned of a plot to kill the king. He passed the news to Esther. The king was rescued and the conspirators hanged. Xerxes' scribe recorded Mordecai's service in the annals of the king. Haman was King Xerxes' right-hand man. Haman reveled in his high standing and enjoyed having all the royal officials kneel at his feet. Mordecai refused to pay such homage. Haman was enraged. To exact his revenge, Haman deceived the king into issuing a decree to exterminate Mordecai and his people, the entire Jewish population of Persia. He cast a lot, or pur, and chose a single day of unfettered violence against the Jews. Mordecai sent word to Esther asking her to beg the king for mercy. Queen Esther feared for her life because no one could legally go before the king without prior permission. Mordecai's immortal words persuaded her. Who knows but that you have come into royal position for such a time as this? Her courageous response was, if I perish, I perish. She and the Jews in Susa fasted, and Esther approached the king. Xerxes welcomed her and offered to grant her her heart's desire. She invited the king and Haman to a private banquet. Haman was delighted. Esther invited them both to another fancy but ultimately fatal feast. Haman was elated to be the exclusive royal guest, but still enraged over Mordecai's insolence. With all the satisfaction of a Cheshire cat, he erected a pole on which Mordecai could be impaled. Kings with full stomachs must not sleep well, so Xerxes spent the midnight hours reading the royal records. He discovered the account of Mordecai's report that saved his own life and wondered how he might honor such a man. The king asked Haman for advice on how he might honor one of his favorites. Assuming that he was the king's favorite, Haman dreamed up an elaborate ceremony. Within moments, a mortified Haman was giving his nemesis the king's robes, leading him through the streets and singing his praises. Haman later enjoyed the queen's second banquet until Esther exposed his plot to destroy her people. The king left the room in a fury, only to return and discover Haman appearing to assault his queen. He ordered that Haman be impaled on the very pole intended for Mordecai. The king could not repeal his original edict declaring the destruction of the Jews, but he enabled Mordecai to issue a counter-edict providing for the Jews to take up their own defense. The day planned for destruction became a day of deliverance. Though the lot was cast, God remains the author of the story. Even in exile, God protected his people. And in Esther, we see God's heart for saving us all.